Madden 24, Dave. Madden 24.
A game that Adam is not excited about at all.
Okay, don't say I'm not excited at all. And we're going to go through some of the changes. I think that's going to be the most important thing of knowing what's with Madden, because let's be honest, most Maddens feel the same.
Madden is kind of been under, some raps lately. For a very long time, actually, about just kind of recycling the same game over and over again. Good example, last year's release got a 69 on Metacritic. I believe the year before that got even lower, I want to say. But it's very obvious to fans that we're kind of getting a carbon copy of the exact same game all the time. Yep. And I understand why people are kind of dipping out of the Madden franchise. EA stands by the fact that they are putting out the game that players want, and I want to kind of throw that to the wind and say that EA is not putting out the game that players want. EA is just the only studio that's able to put out a simulation football game, so
which we can talk about that as well. We talked about that in our episode with the Fantasy Football Bros podcast.
Yes,
but we can touch on it here too. But let's pull the gameplay trailer. It's about 5 minutes. We'll kind of talk through it as well. Some big changes to it is there's supposed to be a big change to the field sense to make it feel like it's redesigned, like using skeletons. The animations are supposed to be different. So that's gonna be some big things with it.
They
Take
really
it with a grain of salt. Are they really going to change very much with it? Who knows? But it's supposed to add tackle variety, different animations to like players, and just the feel of making it feel more natural. But
yeah. So they really did say that they're focusing on improving the gameplay, which I mean, realistically, that's 1,000% what they need to do. There's only gameplay in this game. That makes sense for every single game. There's obviously only gameplay in the game, but in this game, it really is only gameplay. There's nothing outside of you playing on the field that actually really matters. So, I mean, they do say that they're focusing on improving the gameplay, and I do kind of believe that based on what we're seeing here. So you can see they've improved, like Adam said, they've improved the tackling animations. There's now different type of tackles. So in years past, it's been focused primarily on the hit stick, and no matter what you're doing, any type of tackle you're going for, you just hit the hit stick and hope it works.
And now go ahead.
There's very specific types of tackles now, and they're gonna have that based on player type, right? So you can do like you can obviously still hit stick if you're trying to hit people hard. For a guy that's kind of more shifty, you can go for like an ankle tackle and just try to wrap them up. So, I mean, you're going to have more things to think about while you're playing. Also, the passing mechanic, they've really improved the passing mechanic from what it looks like. So now you're very much more able to pinpoint a certain position to throw the ball on the field. In years past, you could control whether you throw it high or low, or like obviously if you can lob it or if you can, fire a bullet. But now they're really focusing on hitting a certain spot on the field. So if you want to hit the backside of the receiver, you can do that. If you want to kind of lead them in a certain direction, you can do that. They've also improved the catch animation. So one of the worst things is when you catch a ball, I don't know if you remember this, but when you catch a ball and you just kind of randomly go out of bounds and it's like no one is around you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they've improved that catching situation, so you shouldn't just randomly go out of bounds for no reason. And I'm kind of excited. You can see they updated the blocking system. It looks like they've given a lot of updates to the game.
Yeah, what's kind of going on for your point of the catching? So they added dive catches are back, so the players will be able to dive for the catches, and they promised less drops. So I guess that's been a big issue with the last iteration of the game, is the players are dropping the ball a lot.
Yes.
Kind of going off the new blocking system. So now, like, blockers can push the pile. Like, so if there's a pile, player like the O-line, they can help push the pile, which is really cool. I think that's a huge step up in terms of like some gameplay mechanics, because you'd think that would have been established a long time ago in terms of like the running game, but that's super cool. And like you said, there's just going to be a lot of improvements to the teammates as well. Like your AI teammates won't be such AI. Like
Yes.
they're going to feel a little bit more in the game, like actually be able to help the team win and stuff like that. The QB AI is supposed to be much better. So they're supposed to play much better, make better decisions as they play, which is really cool.
Yep.
I think that's huge to make a game feel like more of a simulation where you're not just like torching the offense, like on the defensive side, like torching the offense, sacking every play. But like you saw there, like look at the reaction of Lamar Jackson as an AI. Like you would never see that in a Madden before this. So
right, yeah. And there's always been situations too with this AI, especially the quarterback AI, where you're like, that would never happen. And I'm super I'm super excited that like the AI is getting more adaptive, because there's been so many times where it's like in years past, like, you know, I drop back into like a cover 3, right? And then Aaron Rodgers like takes off on me for 40 yards. And I'm like, there's no way Aaron Rodgers is sprinting 40 yards and I can't catch him. Like there's no way that happens. You know what I mean? So I'm excited that they've improved the adaptive AI. The adaptive AI is also on the defensive side of the ball too. So the defense is going to be a little bit more established. They're going to become adaptive in game, which I think is really cool. So they're going to kind of, as the game progresses, they're going to start to learn your move set. So they're going to get more adaptive to repetitive play calling. So I mean, if you're constantly running one specific route over and over and over, like they're going to get more adaptive to that. They'll drop the safety back in coverage. And I think it makes it more of a realistic experience, because I enjoy winning. I obviously enjoy winning, but I think one of the worst things about Madden is like when you put it on all Madden and you're still winning like 44-0 because you just found like one play that kind of like works and you just keep doing it over and over and over. And it's like, you want a realistic experience, but you also like, this play works. Like I'm not going to stop running it. So I think they're going to fix that. And I'm actually excited about this. I'm more excited about this one than I have been for Madden in a long time.
Right. And it's kind of some key points that they're changing. They're going to increase the total of formations and plays. Yep. So there should be over 700 formations now, which is insane. Post-play improvements was shown in the gameplay trailer as well. Is like, so they'll interact more realistically to certain situations. So if it's like third down, if they make a huge stop or things like that. So there's more animations with that. Franchise mode is getting not a big overhaul, but there's a lot of new things that they're adding to it. Franchise mode is going to have new cities that you can have, logos. They're adding more training camp editions, so like mini games, new league customization. There's a whole bunch, but I guess one of the big things is like there's a snake draft, so that's kind of cool. So if you have your buddies playing with you, kind of like a fantasy draft, it does a snake, which is neat. Ultimate Team. Oh, biggest thing that they're adding with this game, I don't know if you saw, crossplay.
They are adding
first Madden to have crossplay, so that's super cool, and I'm super excited about that.
And they're touting that this version of Madden for the PC is going to finally be a version that's comparable to the console version. So PC players are finally going to get a version of Madden that's playable. And like they said, you know, it is going to be the first one that's cross-platform, which I think is great. You're probably, you're finally going to be able to play with friends that, you
normally don't get to play with.
Adam's a PC player. I'm a PS5 player. This would have never happened before, but like now I'm going to call him and be like, yo, load it up.
There's another live stream idea. Adam versus Dave. Madden 24 showdown.
Let us know down in the comments if you want to see the Buffalo Bills take on the Chargers, because we know those are the teams that are going to be picked.
The AFC Championship.
Yup, let's go.
Cool. That's going to be fun. All right, that's going to be a thing. That's going to be a thing.
Okay, so I just want to run through. You mentioned a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna hop in and just kind of detail a few more things. So you talked about the mini games. Mini games are back. We haven't had mini games since the PS2 version, and I was actually a big fan of the mini games.
I think that was Madden 08.
Yeah.
Madden 08 or 7.
7?
They were so fun. There's like the gauntlet, and you can oh man, they were super fun.
Yeah, they were super fun, and I really like them. And the way that they're introducing those back into the game is obviously you can just play them if you want to play them. But in your franchise mode, this is going to be the first year that they kind of introduce like a training camp situation. So these mini games are actually going to be relevant. It's going to help you improve the stats of your players before the preseason, which I think is fun. And honestly, it could get old, but if it does get old, they are skippable. You don't have to do it. So I know some people are just like, oh, great, more preseason nonsense before I get into my season, but you can skip it. But I think they're super fun. So I'm glad that they're bringing them back. They also went back to superstar mode, which they haven't had in a while. I know they kind of went to their face of the franchise. Storyline mode.
Once I played the story and I was like, okay, I'm never playing Madden again, because I love being a superstar. Like when I play MLB The Show, that's all I play. I play 2K, that's all I play. I'm not good at the franchise. I'm not good at the Ultimate Team. I like playing as one character and just going off. That's how I like to play. So.
I loved being a superstar. I loved the superstar mode. And when they took that away, the first year that they took that away and they moved to this face of the franchise, I was like, oh, wow, they're really finally focusing on superstar mode. Like, this is going to be sick. And I got maybe like... I maybe got to like the preseason and I was like, this is the dumbest thing like I've ever seen. And I'm usually pretty optimistic, especially when it comes to like games that I like. So that's going bye-bye. They finally admitted that their franchise story mode was a huge flop. They've gone back to superstar mode, which is great. The yard, which is like their online kind of thing. So everybody, not a lot of people love the yard. So they're actually going back. They're switching it up. They're calling it Superstar Showdown now.
Okay.
And basically what that is if, you can take your superstar character, take him into the Superstar Showdown, which will be team-based multiplayer, which I think is pretty cool. Because you can build... You could build, Adam the superstar and make him a beast, and then take him online and load into a lobby and, play on a team with other superstars. And I think that'll be pretty cool. The yard has just been a total flop for me. I haven't been into the yard basically ever. I think that's a huge improvement. Free agency is going to be improved. They have free agency 2.0, which is going to be very cool because I think they're going to they're introducing 5th-year player options, which is something that they've never had in Madden games. And I think that that's going to be very helpful. They also have contract restructuring, which I think is very cool because this is a very important component of the real NFL. And you were never able to do that before. And the quick workaround, I know a lot of people used to do this. I don't know if you ever did this, but like you'll sign a player.
If it's not superstar, I didn't play it.
Okay. So the thing that people would do in the franchise mode, and Pete, my brother, I'm looking at you all the time. You would sign a player, right? And if that player, ended up wanting way too much money, you would go into the edit screen and you would turn that wide receiver into, say, a punter. And then you would sign him for 5 years, 600,000, because he's a punter and he's a 37. And then once you got him signed, you changed him back to a wide receiver, and now you got a 97 wide receiver for 600,000 in 5 years. So, but it's a slippery slope. Once it always starts with, I'm just gonna do it on this one guy because I just want to keep, and then all of a sudden your whole franchise is ruined. So I do like the contract restructuring. They are gonna improve trades. They're expanding on the draft class simulator and the coaching skill trees, which I think is really cool. Adam touched on the Sapien system, which is their kind of improvement to the player models. So the one thing that you will notice with Madden years past is all of the player models. They all kind of look the same. They have basically a thin version, a muscular version, and a kind of heavy set version. And all of the players fit into one of those 3 molds. And this is going to just really give people, players a more dynamic feel. And it's also going to translate to coaches, referees, players on the sideline, people in the stands. They're all going to look like real people. It's not going to look super flat, which I'm super excited for. This is the first time I've been excited for Madden in a long time.
I think I'm going to play this one.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna play this one for the sole fact that it is crossplay, so I'll be able to play with all my PlayStation friends, my Xbox friends, which is really cool. So, Dave, we will have a Madden showdown live at some point. So,
comment down below, guys, if you want to see the Madden showdown. I also will be getting this game. We wanted to squeak it in here before it came out. It's coming out very, very soon, August 15th. It will drop. My boy Josh Allen is the cover player. First time a Bills player has been on the cover, so I'm super excited about that. And yeah, I know Madden talks a big game about making changes all the time, and they give us the same game all the time. But
hopefully this is it.
If you've dipped out of the Madden franchise, and I understand why you might have, this could be the time that they actually come through on some of these promises. So
I think why they're having some of these big overhaul changes to make it more of an experience that people want is it's getting close to their contract date.
Indeed.
And so I think this is like, they're like, hey, we want to save this contract. We don't want anybody else to have the rights to a realism football game like the NFL realism football, because let's be honest, like 2K crushes EA in terms of NBA.
Yep.
Granted, the last NBA wasn't that good, but golf wise, 2K is so much better than EA. Like
golf crushes
leaps and bounds in terms of like how much better they are versus what EA has put out with Madden and NBA and then PGA Tour. And I think the team is like finding like, hey, we're getting, I think, is it 2 years? Yeah, 2025. Like, hey, we're getting close. Like, we need to really start to like give the fans what they want. Otherwise, the NFL and the NFL Players Association is like, you know what? Let's explore other options. Yes, you guys can still make Madden, but let's see what 2K can give us. Let's see what another franchise can give us. And I think that's kind of why they're like, okay, let's do it, right? And because I mean, you saw that with the new NFL. What's that game called? Wow, I'm blanking. Wild Card Football. Wild Card Football. You can see that like fans are excited about that because it's different, it's unique compared to what Madden is, and I think that's like what Madden's like. You know what? We have to put something out there now.
Yeah. So if you guys don't know what we're talking about, we touched on this a little bit on the Wild Card Football episode. Basically, EA owns the rights to simulation football. They do
realism football.
They call it simulation football, which is, obviously a realistic version of the game. And that's why Madden is the only game in town when it comes to realistic football. Now the rights for non-simulation football, something like a wild card, is not owned by EA. So anybody that does a deal with the NFL for a non-simulation football can make a game like that.
NFL Players Association.
The NFL Players Association.
It can't be the NFL, so there's no ties to the NFL. NFL is strictly EA right now, but the Players Association, so the name rights and whatnot, can go to different players or different people.
Yeah. So yeah, like we're talking about, this contract is running out. And I agree with Adam. They obviously want to keep the contract, and they've been kind of riding the Cush train of like, we don't have to worry about this. We're the only game in town, so we'll just put out a whatever game. But yeah, that time is ticking, and they have this release and one more to really hit home runs and get the fan base back before they lose that contract. So if there's ever a time to jump back in, I do believe it would be now.
And I'm going to. You finally sold me, because I was like, Madden, I don't want to talk about it. But I'm glad we talked about it. I'm glad you showed me that this is worthwhile. At least I hope it's worthwhile. They always do that, though. They always like, this one's so great, and they blow it up like it is, and then you get into it like, this is so bad.
Yeah.
And so
it's
hopefully
the same
not
game.
with this one.
Same game.
Yep.
And I don't want to, real quick, I don't want anybody to think like I'm just a Madden, like, oh my God, I did not buy Madden last year or the year before. Like I'm right there with you. I jumped off the Madden franchise 3 years ago. So yeah, I'm not saying this is a guy that's like habitually like, I buy Madden every single season. Like, I'm right there with you guys. I've skipped out on this franchise the last 2 years. So I'm also in the same boat of hoping this is going to be good and giving it a chance. So we will see.